Okay, so this one is even easier to do. A bill to waive Obamacare consumer reimbursements for the federal government. This is not. This is not about Obamacare. Regardless of your opinion on it, and I'm looking at Joe because I know he's going to say we should abolish Obamacare. That's not what this bill is. Regardless of your opinion of Obamacare, this is dealing with some of the technical issues that I've had, such as you know the bill says several of them were significantly lower than they should have been in terms of inaccurate credits. These individuals can claim for additional money when they file taxes. However, the individuals given too high a credit who have already filed their taxes will not be forced to reimburse the federal government. It's kind of like I guess the principle is the same as when like a teacher accidentally puts in the wrong grade for you, and how they're supposed to they're supposed to not change it unless it's Mr. Dolby, right? Yeah, like one time I remember talking to Miss Elsie, and she said like there was something wrong with the Scantron, like or she accidentally put like the wrong score for one of the kids' exam, and gave the kid like a something like a 92 when he was supposed to be at 29 or something like that. And yeah, and like that's pretty problematic. But whatever. What I do wonder is, of course, how much money is actually at stake with this legislation. I know it's a pretty shitty bill, but I mean, it would be nice to do some sort of like real analysis. Actually, I mean, I didn't look it up, of course, because I don't think anybody really knows. Um, what does it mean, like, to give like inaccurate, like, how much money is actually at stake? Like, how much money will the federal government not be refunded, and how much money does the federal government need to give refund to people that got like credits that are lower, right? Um, that is still up for debate, of course. What we'll definitely say is you can also give a speech about what would be an interesting affirmative, in my opinion, would be giving like a very hardcore pro speech saying it's the least that we can do after screwing up healthcare.gov so much. The least we can do is make this process as smooth as possible. Because even in the case of like a higher credit than they really need it, was that assessment accurate in the first place? Since healthcare.gov like was not obviously the most optimal technologically to make that kind of assessment. Who knows, right? I would definitely say there's a very strong affirmative position. On the negative, I would argue a very budget-oriented like disadvantage, saying like not just how much money is at stake and how that undermines the budget, this undermines the value of the dollar, right? But also talking about like the principle behind it. Like if we're not like we need to encourage fiscal discipline. What I would do is look back at my economics section of the Congress folder and look up the financial discipline, fiscal discipline DA or something like that, and write a speech based on that. Because what this bill screams is we as the federal government are just not going to deal with this, even though money is at stake. So the signal that it gives to the international community is that the federal government just is not very effective with their money, and like that kind of like this is kind of like the principle and the basis for financial analysis about the value of U.S. bonds and the ability of the U.S. to pay back its debt. Like, am I going to invest in the United States if I know they throw money away, they're not very effective, and they don't have a lot of fiscal discipline? Uh, right, because think about it from an investor standpoint. You want to invest in some sort of vehicle or invest in a person that's going to effectively deal with the resources you allocate to them, not somebody that's just going to waste them or just not be disciplined enough to like take care of it. So I think the best economic argument is not so much how much money are we going to lose on this and how much that's going to undermine the debt, because our debt is 15 trillion. Like that's not going to really meaningfully impact the state of the U.S. financial economy. But it's more about the principle of the United States saying, well, you know what, we're just not going to deal with it. It's okay that we misallocated taxpayers' money into this. So that's where Joe comes in and gives like a tirade on why we should all get pissed off that taxpayers' money was wasted. And the federal government is not even going to take care of this. Then you can make a bureaucratic argument like, how much money would it take to actually like find everybody that got too high of a credit and get them to file for the paperwork? But I would definitely say what's at stake with the principle Is either the United States saying like it's more effective just to, like, move on and get on it rolling so people get access to healthcare, um, and like, and it's like, let's not like be hardcore just for a few cents, or it's about the principle of saying we don't care about our money being misallocated undermines the very core of the U.S. economy, which is the international trust that people put on the U.S. government to actually effectively deal and effectively allocate the capital that's invested.